Hello everyone, welcome to Hard Fork, where we talk about all things crypto, everything blockchain. I'm your host Shantanu. We are watching a very special edition of Hard Fork called Women in Blockchain. Today on the studio, we have an amazing person who has been instrumental in driving the India blockchain agenda on the global Fintech community. She's an acclaimed author of 4 best-selling books on blockchain technology. She's also a consultant, trainer, and speaker at many international and national blockchain conferences. Please welcome to the show, Debajani Mohanty. Welcome to the show, Debajani. Good to have you on the.
Thank you so much for inviting me here.
You're most welcome, ma'am. My first question is, of course, when we talk about blockchain as such, every person has a blockchain journey, right? What has been your blockchain journey?
Nowadays when I am invited as a speaker to quite a few different some blockchain summits, I come to know that I started little later than others. So I started back in 2017, which is 2 years back, and I visited to US on some business trip, and then I was told that there is a new technology called blockchain, which is actually the backbone of Bitcoin, and that actually interested me a lot, and I started gathering information from various different websites, because at that time, back in 2017, there is not enough books in the market, and not many people were working in this area, so people mostly were talking about Bitcoin. So I started gathering information from many different resources and started building my own documentation. And finally, I realized that my documentation is better than anything else that is available in the market. So that is why I uploaded it to Amazon as a self-published book. And gradually, it was republished by BPB, and then it became a bestseller. And it was later translated to German and Chinese for its huge popularity. And then I started writing on other blockchain protocols. So today I have written 4 books so far. Initially, it's very interesting that back in 2017, when I wrote my first book, I was approaching people of CXO level that this is a new technology, why can't we work over here? And it was me who was approaching people, and today I'm being approached by publishers and all the business leaders and decision makers for blockchain in industry.
Good. So that's a reversal of roles that is happening now. Earlier you used to approach people, now people are approaching you. Very good. I've seen a lot of books that you have written, and I think writing books is a very big task. What drives you to do it again and again? So you have 4 books, all of them bestsellers. What is driving you?
See, I think in a way it's something that you are giving back to the society, because if we all keep the knowledge to ourselves, then we cannot go ahead. So today my books are read by business leaders and like I said, decision makers, and that help them to think that what is ahead. So we always need people who need to do research and pay back to the society.
Absolutely, yes. Good. I think it's a very good thought, paying back to the society what you're doing. So Debajani, you've seen so many blockchains as such. What is so intriguing about blockchain? What do you want to, when you look at blockchain per se, what is so exciting about blockchain in the current scheme of things?
Well, blockchain has so many different dimensions. So using blockchain, you can just uproot this word fake from the dictionary. No fake identity, no fake document, and also it actually gives you opportunity which was never before. Different organizations can share their data together in a trusted environment, right? So, and this would actually reduce the time, the friction that was there in the industry before, especially in international trading. So there are so many different use cases which would be benefited. We can reduce the cost, the time, and intermediaries.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the biggest word that you can use for blockchain is, it creates a trustless environment, wherein, I don't need to trust the other person on the opposite side to do a financial or any business or any value transaction.
That's true.
Yeah. So, coming to the world of blockchain per se, the blockchain world is divided. entire world is divided into two. Okay, one says blockchain is good, crypto is not good. Okay, so why is the world so divided on cryptocurrency or crypto assets, whatever you want to call it? Why is the world so divided?
Well, if let's say that I want to create my own crypto coin, and especially in a private permission network, nobody can stop me, or there is no regulation for me.
True, very true, yeah.
So in a private permission network, let's say what JP Morgan is doing today. So they have created a coin called JPM coin.
JPM coin, yeah.
So what they're doing, they're using it for instant funds transfer anywhere in the world with their clients, with their partners, right? So this kind of currency would not actually create any issue for anybody, right? You are doing it within your own premises, right? So it's not actually a currency but a coin. But if you want to create a currency which has got the capacity to replace the existing fiat currencies, then obviously you would find people who would oppose you. Because see, the currency is what? So currency is something which you are using to do your payments, right? Now these payments, even if let's say I got $1 million, I cannot pay it to anybody and everybody in the world, right? I cannot pay it to a terrorist. I cannot pay it for black marketing, or I cannot hoard it without paying taxes. So using the fiat currencies, through the fiat currencies, the government is actually keeping an eye or keeping a control and keeping all the regulations in place that where you can spend that money, where you can't. But using cryptocurrencies as such, which is not falling under any regulation, there could be bigger issues. So that is why even if we are saying that there would be a cryptocurrency in future, or maybe a global currency like what Facebook's Libra is trying to do, then we should have proper regulation in place.
Yeah, okay. But my another thought comes in place is when we talk about the governments, right? And they are thinking about something in the lines of coming out with their own stable coin or central bank digital currencies as such. Do you think that is the future? What do you think so? Do you think the future will be, instead of having a fiat, physical currency, will move on to being on the digital network altogether?
Well, it's quite controversial because I will tell you about the pros and cons of both. So what happens in a cryptocurrency? Let's say I have worked a lot on Ripple, right?
Okay, yeah,
So what happens that let's say you want to do an international money transfer. Let's say it's an e-auction between different parties working from different countries. So they are operating at different fiat currencies, right?
Yes.
Somebody is working at GBP, somebody at US dollar. Now, if they want to do some trading, then you can just convert your money, your fiat currency, to Ripple's XRP or something, and then you do the payment, which can happen within 4 seconds, and the party in the other side can convert it back to, let's say, GBP, right? So it can happen without any further complication. But when we are talking about stable coins, doesn't matter whether it's government or non-government, somebody can create their own stable coins also. But the issue with that is all the stable coins are backed by some kind of collateral. That collateral could be US dollar, GBP, it could be oil, it could be gold, anything,
so
right?
there has to be a backup or an asset.
Right. And if that is so, then we have to keep a reserve, and there should be a consistent auditing process where people can be assured that yes, the person is actually having that much of reserve. So Tether already had this kind of issue in the past. So that is why all these stable coins would come up with their own issues. And also the stable coin means you have to have the reserve, and that is centralized, right? Which is opposing the very
crux of blockchain technology, which is decentralizing everything.
Why Bitcoin was created, to get rid of
intermediaries.
Intermediaries and centralization. Now you are again saying that let's have the centralization in place. So I think what we need, maybe in future, we'll come up with something which is in between centralization and decentralization, so that we can have the best of both the worlds, maybe.
Well, I'm not sure whether we'll get the best of both the worlds when the government only thinks about that whether this is good or bad, because I'm sure you've heard about the draft banning bill. They are saying that, we will ban everybody, we will criminalize everybody, and that's the draft bill. Of course, it's not yet, in the law. But having said that, I believe the government has to change its stance. The government has to change its mindset before we arrive at such a place wherein we can have a best of both the worlds. Debajani, you have worked on Ripple and Corda extensively. Right. What other blockchain technology do you think holds a lot of promise in the times to come?
Well, I haven't worked only in Ripple and Corda. I started with Ethereum, like most of us, and I did a small project on Ethereum, and then I participated partially in a project in Hyperledger Fabric. Then I moved to Corda, and I ended up doing 5 projects on Corda. But unfortunately, none of them are in production at the moment, right? So I believe that I still have to do a lot in Corda. Because Corda is especially suitable for B2B and Fintech space, Fintech and for banks. So that is why I think that I need to work a lot more on Corda, along with Ripple or along with some other cryptocurrency, maybe Libra in 2020. And also I want to work in a very scalable environment to see that whether we can use this kind of setup in day-to-day life. So when millions can come up and we can use blockchain for mass adoption. But in future, maybe I want to work in something like Quorum, where we can use Quorum for B2B as well as B2C spaces. So that is one area which I'm
so Quorum is something which you think is going to hold a lot of promise in the future?
Yes, I think.
Okay, good, great. I think the people outside should also know that Quorum may hold a lot of promise. There are more than 2,000 odd different kind of blockchains, but we need to figure out our own, what we are good at and what we want to see in the future. Good. So this show is all about women and women in blockchain. I read an article somewhere which said that there are hardly about 2,000 odd women even who code, but who are actually pursuing blockchain as a career motive. All right. Now, my question would be, how do you excite the ladies in this space to come into blockchain? What do you think? I mean, is it a matter of time when everybody will come in, or do you think that there is something missing, and that is why there are not many women here in this space?
Well, this is a problem that I have seen since my childhood. So when I joined my school, my primary school, at that time the ratio was between male and female was 50-50, right? So when I went to college, gradually went down, engineering college further down, and when I joined my work, it was like even down. And so after almost 2 decades in the industry, I find that number goes less and less and less.
Is dropping.
So this is true for technology in general, not only blockchain. So women find, I think most of the women you can find in healthcare or education or service industry, but other service industry. But when we talk about technology, the number is in general less until the CXO level, where it is only 3 to 4%. So I think the major problem that women face are the maternity breaks, right? After the maternity, not only in India, any place in the world, 50% women never go back to work. And I believe that something like blockchain, because blockchain is an emerging technology, so nobody would ask you about experiences, past experiences, right?
Exactly.
So this can be really wonderful for women, especially who are undergoing this break, maternity break, or have got a career break due to some other issue. They can learn it and come back to the industry. So blockchain could be a high promise for them.
So what do you think, people like you and the community here, what do you think needs to be done to maybe inculcate this kind of thought process in those women who are taking a break right now? What do you think can be done?
I think the women who are already leading, they can mentor the ones who are younger. And also we should come out of this thought process of employment. We should, especially women, because we have to take care of our family as well as the job.
Not denying that.
So that is why I think that we should start thinking about work from home opportunities. And I have met some of the females who have just after the college, they have started being entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
So that is one wonderful area. So we should stop thinking about job opportunities, but we should learn how to use our own feet and stand on them.
Great. That's a very fantastic message. One last question before we end this episode is this is a question which I'll probably ask every woman. What is your superpower? What is the superpower that Debajani Mohanty has?
Well, I mean, this is something which I realized, but people told me even beforehand. Some of my gurus, the people who I consider guru, that I got 2 superpowers instead of 1.
Okay.
First is I'm brave.
Okay.
So my father used to call me a daredevil rather. So that is what prompted me to write books.
Okay.
So that is one. The second one is I'm extremely kind. Maybe that also is related, because I do not want to keep the knowledge to myself, but I want that others should learn and the world must go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And what message do you want to leave? Before we close this, the camera is all yours. Any message for the ladies out there?
I think we should invest more time in planning our lives and doing research, especially in emerging technologies. We need many people who should do research rather than following what others have done. So get into this space and we need you.
Great. So thank you, Debajani, for your time. Get into this space. We need you, ladies. And there's a lot that can happen. Blockchain is an emerging technology. It doesn't require any background. You just need to get into it if you have a previous background in technical aspects of programming. And so here we are at the end of the episode. Debajani, thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure having you. We look forward to meeting you some other way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is all we have for this episode. We'll meet again soon in the next episode. Bye-bye.